Call this meeting to order. Welcome to the Shelby County Board of Supervisors meeting this March 17th, 2026. Do we have any conflict of interest?
None.
No, sir.
None? Okay. Any actions or more on our agenda?
Any agenda
No
changes?
changes.
I mean.
No changes.
I'll move to approve as presented.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Mike, second by Bryce. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay. Everybody read the minutes?
Yep. Motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Bryce,
Second.
second by Mike. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay. Everybody read or looked at the claims?
Yep.
Did. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
By Mike, second by Bryce. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, Samuel's group presentation.
Are you gonna use the podium or this, whatever you wanna do?
Have a seat.
Bring another chair up.
Yeah, right shape.
Bryce, nice to meet you. This is Jeff Curtis.
Morning,
He's
Bryce. I'm Jeff
our
Curtis.
operations.
Nice to meet you, sir.
He's a couple more hands for you guys, yeah. We're gonna slide over for you, Jeff.
Okay.
Okay. All right, cool. So yeah, just take a quick moment. Thank you guys for the opportunity to be here with you this morning. You know, I'm Chase Keenan, Business Development Manager with the Samuels Group. This is Jeff Curtis. He's our GM of Operations. You know, obviously you guys can kind of see, try to keep things high level here, but you guys can kind of see that we have a presentation here for you today. Discussion topics listed. However, we kind of want this to be more of an open discussion than we do just a presentation, so if you guys have questions, please do chime in at any moment. I guess other than what you see here on screen, is there anything specifically that you guys wanted to cover here this morning?
Not yet.
Feel good about it? That's fair. I figured. We'll get things rolling. So the Samuels Group, we're a full service construction manager. We've been in business for about 21 years. We have two offices, one in West Des Moines, Iowa, one in Wausau, Wisconsin. We operate primarily in Iowa and Wisconsin. However, we have done some other projects in neighboring states as well. We do have about 100 employees throughout the two different locations. Specific to Iowa, we have about, I'd say 30 employees, 10 in the office, 20 in the field, give or take.
Yep.
I guess when I look at this slide, I kind of want to touch on a couple of different things. So I don't know if it's just me being in the construction industry, but I feel like a lot of people, you know, maybe your everyday person, they kind of think of like a subcontractor, contractor, general contractor, and construction manager as kind of one and the same. Personally, I feel like that's simply not true. You know, as a full service construction manager, we kind of take things a step further. So we act as kind of your consultant through and through. We're your one-stop shop for all things construction. So what does that mean? So we work with a lot of public entities such as yourself at a state or county level. We come in early on in the process when, you know, preliminary conversations, questions are being asked, and we provide early phase master planning. What does that look like? Well, it's us providing a feasibility study, a facility assessment, operational analysis, setting that over here, and then kind of combining that with looking at like county specific data, so county demographics, population trends, crime rates, etc. We kind of blend those together to create what we call a needs report, or the need. And that's important because that's going to help you guys identify whether or not a facility is needed here or there, whether or not it's not needed. I guess kind of one and the same there. Essentially from there, we take that needs report, and as you can see, we have an architectural design team on staff, and we kind of roll that into our planning program. So one thing that I think is important to highlight, and what we do a really good job of, is when you talk to other firms and you ask them about their design, you ask them, how did you come up with this design? A lot of them might tell you code, regulation. That's great, should be the case. We do that too. But we also back it and pair it with that needs report, and it's data driven. So when it comes to square footage, bed count, types of space, that's all factored into our design. And that's important because no county or no facility is the same, okay? So like, for example, every county is unique. Shelby County is unique. We want to make sure that we're right-sizing this facility for Shelby County to fit you guys for the next 25 to 40 years. We are not just throwing a dart at the wall and saying, hey, we think this amount of beds or this square footage will cover it. That's not the case. So from there, we get into our estimating, our cost estimation. You're probably gonna hear me say this a lot, it's all important, but that's an important piece because $1 million question, right? What's this gonna cost? So that's where we get into the cost analysis of the project. It allows you guys to factor in what is this capital gonna look like, what is this investment gonna look like. It allows the taxpayers to understand what this investment's gonna look like. We take that number, it's so accurate that we take that up to referendum. So correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, and you've been here longer than I have, but to my knowledge, the numbers that we take to referendum, we have never had to have come back after it's passed for additional monies. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so.
Once we pass the GO bond, we work with the different interest incomes that are derived off of that if necessary also. So that's just one thing that we pride ourselves on.
So, in other words, we tell you it's going to be this, it's going to be that. From there, one of the things, kind of a little bit further down the list, I think this one's important as well, is our pre-referendum support. So, a lot of firms don't offer this service. It's pretty unique to what we do, and we excel with it. We come in and essentially, what it sounds like, offer community engagement. It's kind of an a la carte type list of things that we can provide under that agreement, but more or less, providing you with a website, providing you with social medias, and then boots on the ground. So one of the coolest things with our website, and sorry for rambling on a little bit, but we build a widget into this website. So a lot of times, right, the taxpayers, they want to know what this is going to cost, right? Well, we don't guesstimate, we don't estimate, it's an accurate number. They plug their parcel number into this widget, and that's going to kick out to the penny based on the cost of the project, what that's going to cost them out of their pocket specifically. So I think that's pretty cool. We've heard great feedback from that. Boots on the ground, Jeff, myself, Sid, our president, Henry, our lead designer. We are all here in person throughout the entire process alongside you guys, alongside the Sheriff's Department, EMS, EMA, engaging the community at your town halls, different towns here throughout the county, districts throughout the county, helping them understand the need, the cost of doing something versus the cost of doing nothing. And then lastly, once that referendum's passed, we stay on as your construction manager, help make sure that we drive the project on time, on budget, help with subcontractor vetting, material procurement, and scheduling. Any questions on services? Kind of threw a lot at you there. Cool. So, expertise, kind of talked a little bit about our history, our services. This is where we'll get into project types. So here in Iowa, we do about $90 million annually. And I make the argument that about 85 to 90% of that stems from our government partnerships, so state level, county level. At a state level, we have a master agreement in place with the Department of Administrative Services. That's a 5-year agreement.
Correct, 5 years.
And this is our third term?
Correct, and we actually go back up for renegotiation of our master agreement this August.
And that'll be 4.
Correct.
So we're talking about 15 years. 15 years. We take a lot of pride in that. Sorry to repeat myself, but 15 years, that's impressive, going on 20, where we've had an agreement in place with the state. And it's really impressive, or we take a lot of pride in it because of the fact that there's a lot of red tape at state level, there's a lot of eyes on you, and then also there's only 3 vetted contractors that operate at that level. So we're one of 3. Speaks to the value and the quality of work that we do. With that, we've been in all 99 counties here in Iowa. Serving through DAS, and project types. When you think of that government umbrella, I think of like administrative offices, secondary roads, maybe a little bit of medical, courthouses, and then what we're here to talk about today, what we specialize in is corrections, so your LEC, justice centers, jails, EMS, EMA, etc. Kind of all fall under that umbrella. Specific to the corrections sector, we built 5 jails, LECs, 911 dispatch facilities here in the States, Clinton County, Floyd, Guthrie, Dallas, and now Page. Page County is about a $17 million project, just a hair under, I believe. 43 beds, and then just under 20,000 square feet. So Jeff's been involved with that one from the get-go. Maybe kind of just share a little bit about that process of how that all came together and how things are progressing, where we're at today.
Okay. So it took roughly about 2.5 years when we finally got up to the referendum stage, just by sizing the building accordingly to what we figured and what the local folks we worked with would say that the taxpayers would go for. Once we did the referendum, went to all the town hall meetings we ended up getting that referendum passed. Of course, that one there, we had a super majority, 60+1. We come in, so I do believe that came in roughly about the 80% approval rating on that. From there, we put it out for full competitive bid. We break it out in multiple bid packages, specializing kind of by the divisions, the civil, foundations, precast, all the roofing details, interior MEPs. So we kind of got that process going. That project started March of last year, of 25, slated for 911 dispatch to start moving in about the middle part of June, and then right now we're tentatively slating that they'll move the offenders into the actual jail portion right around the July time. That's what we're slated for. Challenges, everybody understands where we're at right now with the markets. They're so up and down right now. We know what's going on over in the Middle East, so that's something that we work directly with our trade partners, and then also with our estimating department, being part of Samuel's group since the get-go. We have trends. We can see exactly what the histories are doing when it comes to the markets, and we're able to forecast it really closely.
Questions?
So you're saying prices are going down, is that what you're saying?
Always. I wish.
We can only hope.
Yeah, so I think right now, on that point, right now we're seeing cost escalations somewhere in the 4 to 7% range on an annual basis. So, but yeah, anyways, so moving on, wanted to maybe talk less about ourselves and talk more about you guys, Shelby County. You guys probably heard enough of me rambling on. We have been talking, or I guess in conversation with the Sheriff's Department, EMS and EMA folks for almost 2 years now, it feels like. Just sharing some of our experiences, understanding their situation, your situation. Wanted to kind of loop them in. We'll talk about the jail, EMA, and then EMS in separate slides. Wanted to kind of loop in Sheriff or Kyle, whoever it may be, to come up here and kind of speak a little bit to their situation. I understand that you guys are somewhat already, privy to it, but I guess, Kyle, when I look at your facility or look at this list here, maybe let you get started.
Yeah, sorry, I just figured
Well,
I
that's my
have a
bad.
seat that way. We're not
Apologize.
looking at my backside. Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. So yeah, just looking at this slide, thinking about your facility, I look at the age of the facility, the linear jail design. I look at classification issues or challenges. I look at safety, and then your jail support or that area. I guess, when you think about those things, or take this where you will, tell us a little bit about your current jail situation, how it impacts your budget, your staff, your operations. Go from there.
Yes. Good morning. Obviously, Kyle Lindbergh, the jail administrator at the Shelby County Jail. Kind of piggyback off what Jay stated here. Our facility, obviously, we're looking at 43 years of age, built back in 1983. Just to kind of summarize and blank this without going into too much depth or with security reasons and stuff. State jail standards have changed tremendously. Our inmate population has changed tremendously. Your types of charges, your lengths of stay. Throw this, the big one everybody knows, mental health and addiction. Part of those jail standards and stuff that we have to still maintain by law is the fact that we have to do classification to keep those people separate. We have to keep violent separate from non-violent. We have to keep you know, like special charges, special statuses, which I put like child molesters and stuff, those people separate from general population. They have to be separated, classified by their mental health status, their addiction status, gender, another topic of discussion. Those things in the small current setup in our 14-bed facility, basically we're set up with 2 6-person pods, and then we have one small 8 by 13, 8 by 14 space that we house our current females. Operational wise, when you look at this, the staff constraints, because we have a lot of high risk people that are coming in with medical issues, mental health issues. Our current staffing setup is set up at times where we have 1 person on. We'd like to have 2 if we could. Operationally wise, though, looking at it overall in the context of things is when you're trying to maintain a jail 24/7, 365 a year, and you have to keep the operational flow going of the standardized jail, but then you add additional tasks onto staff with inmates and their current mental health and things like this. You get staff shortaging, we get budget constraints. I got to call on people for overtime for special inmate statuses. We have longer lengths of stay, as Marcus can attest. Our charge count has gone up tremendously. Transportation costs, we have to utilize things where we have to, if we get full, I'm just going to throw this out there, I can house 2 females at a time. We see a significant increase in females being incarcerated for longer lengths of time. If I have to hold somebody for the state, whether they're going to another facility or not, I can hold them for 60, 90, 120 days. That ties up a bed space. We have to kick a lot of people down the curb, or people calling in to try to get their jail time, and we basically tell them, I have no room for you because I'm tying up spots, or I'm have 2 men and holding up a 6-man cell because they're a violent offender or they have mental health issues. So in correlation, without going on too much more, you can just see there's just progressive over the 43 years that the standards of people coming to jail has changed tremendously. So, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and those things that are context are kind of a blanket thing of all the things that we are running into, with space and things. So, yeah, go ahead, Jason. Sorry.
No, I just want to make sure, if you're comfortable sharing, I think of like your intake, your booking, some of your, jail support space, and you guys making do with what you have. Would you be willing to kind of expand on that, and then also maybe like your waiting to serve time list, as that kind of ties into the classification side of things, and how you guys handle that?
Like how our intake, I think the board has, each one of you guys and former boards have been in do tours of our facility, how the intake process works. It flows, but operationally it doesn't flow very well. We have inmates crossing over inmates, sight and sound separation issues, which is a huge thing. When we bring intakes in, females can hear everything. We have to keep doors shut so if they angle enough, they can see things. Our booking intake area is quite small. It's not really built up for staff safety, because basically the way our desk sits, you only have 1 way to exit out of, or 2 ways to exit out of, one being the intake and then one being out down to the sheriff's office main lobby area. But we do everything in that centralized small space area, that's where intake, we ask booking questions, we do our classifications, we do our fingerprints, our mug shots. Still at times with only 1 person basically on duty, still to manage and watch 12 to 13 other inmates at that time. So operational wise, we make it function as we can right now, but we are looking at huge security issues as far as with in staff safety, because there's not a real lot of escape ways if something were to go south in our booking room setup. And the way our pods are set up down lengthwise, it's just overall, I'm not gonna say, I'll say it, back in the day, it was a state of the art. Sure, a state of the art facility, but as people know, times change, people change, crime changes, and over 43 years, we've evolved to the point now where we've been told in our previous 4 jail inspections that we need to start putting this on the radar because of the fact of aspects of looking at security and safety concerns that we're unable to adequately accommodate anymore.
So Jeff, real quick, when you think about like the challenges that you see here on screen and kind of what Kyle just shared, can you maybe share with everyone the difference between like a linear jail design and a modular jail design, and then how some of our newer facilities are helping alleviate some of the challenges that Kyle just mentioned?
Of course. So of course, when everybody thinks of a linear design, it sounds just like it's in line. Back in the day, that was the way the jails were built. They also like to build jails on top of administrative staff areas, which everybody understands. They're not exactly the best folks that are in there, and they like to create some turmoil. Current facilities that you see a lot being built right now are the podular design. And the reason why they're called a pod, in the central area we have what we call the master control. From there, the actual cells then outline around that actual control area with a roving area in between. So that way the person in master control can monitor those folks. You also have your cameras. Then you can even actually start shutting down waters if somebody is doing something they're not supposed to. Shut waters down into a particular shower or toilet area to help facilitate that. Then also you can lock them down in their actual cell, and they share a common day room. You know, when you do that, then you get into, just like the sheriff was talking about, we get into the different classifications that we're able to do. Within that, we'll have like, down a page right now, it's about an 8-man day room or 8-person day room. We also have ADA isolation rooms built into the jail portion. And then actually when we start coming in out of the Sally Port area, coming into the booking area, which again is based to get the folks in safely. We're able to cuff them to a bench, and then they're able to do their intoxilizers, their mug shots, that situation. And they're all maintained right within what we call the maximum security area. That way when folks are in visiting the sheriff, they're behind multiple locked doors to where that alleviates any need for additional staff to help maintain that. With the podular design, again, that helps ease some of the staff issues that a lot of counties are running into right now. In doing that, just for the fact, again, master control can see everything. They also operate all the doors throughout the rest of the facility if need be, and then they also help facilitate with the booking area.
So to kind of piggyback off what he said just real quick when it's all in there. So basically, if we have an intoxicated person come into our jail, they come into the secured pat-down area, come down through our booking room, we go out of our secured area, down into our administrative offices where our data master is held for further testing and where we have offices and other supplies. So we're taking a person from unsecured to secured back out of a secured facility to conduct further testing. So
Is the staffing set by state, federal regulations so that it's different for linear than it is?
well, so as far as your per linear footage or square footage and stuff, we're grandfathered in the current way that we were set in from our 1983 build. I believe there's been 2 or 3 changes since then. We've been kind of limited to make any major overhauls in reference to our current setup, because if we did, then we'd have to come up to code and stuff, and we are not currently ADA compliant in reference to our. We can get a wheelchair, but it can't be an oversized wheelchair through our door frames and down into our booking room. So.
You mentioned staffing size that you can do less with the modular design.
Correct.
Is that set by state code or something, or is it just common sense?
Both.
Okay.
Just for the fact, again, you have to look at the overall staff safety, and then also when it comes to maintaining the safety of the inmates. So.
Yeah, I mean, you could have one person focusing on just load watching, where you have other floor staff or one floor staff maintaining the operational flow. So yes, it could be a benefit, master control area versus one duty on everybody.
So I think I'll loop in Alex and Kenny at this point, kind of move, thank you, keep things moving, because I know we have a hard cutoff here at 9:30. Just looking at the EMA and EMS situation, Alex, I know somewhere around here.
Yeah, I'm going.
There you go. We talked a number of times, and I think, just want to give you an opportunity to talk about your day-to-day operations and the challenges that you see in your facility. I know you wanted to touch on the tower and then the IT. Kind of take it from there.
Yeah, so obviously we have 2 dispatch stations. I'd love to have 3, but we have 2. We're kind of limited on space and dispatch as well. We've also got some security concerns that we've been talking about for years, whether it be the roof or, I think we're the only dispatch station that I've seen that has bay windows out front, and that's not a normal thing. But aside from that, when we did the radio project, we had initially talked about adding some things to the tower out back. We weren't able to do that because it's not as structurally sound, and that was going to cost a lot of money to get updated. We're also adding a lot more with regards to IT, and we're kind of limited on space down in the basement for that. Austin can kind of speak to that, but yeah, I mean, we're honestly overall we're running into similar issues, but not all the same issues as the jail. We just when we talked, it made more sense for us to kind of do it as a package and then try to split one department and then another department later. So we do have some that we've expressed, or concerns we've expressed to St. Louis Group and talk about what we could do, so.
So would your wish be, would require a new tower or just better technology? This is what needed?
Yeah, so we wouldn't need that tower, but at this point, it wouldn't be cost effective to take it down. So if we were to move something into a new space, a lot of what we do now is server based, so we just would add a few servers and then put like a little mini antenna up on top of it. No, we wouldn't need that anymore. And that tower actually got moved over from the police department back in the 60s, so it's seen better
Towers aren't
days.
cheap either, so.
Yeah, no, they're not.
Been there a while.
But yeah, we wouldn't need a new one. So.
Cool, thank you. Try to keep things moving. We'll have Kenny come up here and tell us a little bit about the EMS facility real quick, and hopefully get out of your hair here for you.
He's always quick.
Good morning, good morning. So I mean, real quick, look at these pictures, and I don't want to steal your thunder, I'll leave it to you, but the photos on top, that's Shelby County EMS. The photos below, that's a newer facility that we just built. Pictures worth 1,000 words. Night and day difference. I think you guys can probably connect the dots there. But Kenny, maybe just share a little bit, kind of like what I asked everybody else about your operations, your facility, and how that kind of hinders a little bit of your ability to serve the community efficiently.
Yeah, I think you guys have all kind of been through the building and know some of the challenges we face, and the development of the county EMS system happened a lot quicker than anticipated, so it kind of put us in a hard spot where looking at the capital planning, like you mentioned, and some of the structural deficits that we're facing, and having to get adequate space for the operational demand of having 4 people staffed daily 24/7 through 65. In this space that we have was very limited. So we were able to develop some bedrooms, but they're big enough for a twin-size bed and to put your shoes on, and that's about it. But then you have a shared common space between my office, the employees' offices, a commons area where there's room for downtime, a kitchen, and a single bathroom for all genders, that you sit on top of each other. The whole space is very, very tight. Our garage space isn't big enough for the ambulances and the equipment we have, so that just walking in between trucks is very limited, and there's a lot of clutter and a lot of lack of storage in the whole building. So there's that fall risk, trip risk, things like that we got to be very careful of, that we don't cause any worker injuries just moving around the station in general. But a lot of it, it's just the building itself is structurally deficient, with some of the windows and walls leak. The employees say that the walls cry when it rains. So there's just a lot of structural issues that need to be addressed too, not to mention this space and the lack of room for training and education and other opportunities like that we need to address. The headers for the garage doors are too short, so with the equipment size, the one header got hit by the one ambulance. So if you back it in a little too far, you hit the back wall or the fridge and the equipment that's sitting back there. So I think it's known, but we're making do for the time being.
Thank you for sharing that. Keep it short and sweet, because I know we're on a time crunch. We'll kind of skip ahead here. I guess to kind of wrap things up and talk about next steps, I mean, our role at this stage is not necessarily to sell you a building. Our role right now is to more so help you decide whether or not you even need one. We have a pretty good feel based on what we just heard, but that's where we collect that data. We help you understand what the design should be, and then what the realistic costs are associated with it. So what we're proposing, or what the next steps look like, would be a phase 1 assessment study and planning program that would cover all of those things that I just mentioned. I guess real quick, I know we're kind of running short on time. Do we have your approval, or is that something you guys would be comfortable with us providing you with a formal proposal for you guys to review?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll circle back with our team and try to get that to you here by the end of next week. So you guys can review that, and then we'll be in touch from there about next steps and questions, concerns, and that type of thing.
Do we need to take action on that, or just?
Is there an agreement?
Bring us some information.
They're only bringing.
No agreement
Yeah.
at this
Yeah.
point in time, just
No
a
agreement,
proposal
so
for
I
you
don't
guys to
think you have to
review.
take action on it.
Okay.
All right.
Yes,
Thank you.
You folks have any questions for us right now?
Really, ballpark, what are you looking at ballpark cost-wise for, just to get started? Or
For the,
Or do you want us to
for
wait till we
the,
get
for the
till we
phase
get-
one proposal study, probably get that over to you, but I would say probably in that $30,000 to $40,000 range for this initial phase one study. And then typically the pre-referendum services, that's a separate agreement. Typically the timeline, and I know we're running short on time, but our study and planning program typically takes about 4 months. That pushes us out till say August, September, and that gives us about 2 to 3 months to come in and help with that community engagement, because this referendum, as you guys know, would need to go on the general election here in November.
Nice thing about it, by driving the other folks in with that, we do not have to necessarily hit that supermajority. We can be at that 50+1, so again, if everything falls into position and the authority board's put into position, we can work out those details.
And Alex has some money for that feasibility study, right?
Yeah, we talked about the last EMA commission, and they agreed to pay for it up front to kind of get the ball rolling with it.
Okay.
Okay.
All set?
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you, folks,
guys.
appreciate your time.
Is it wants to just send a slide deck to us?
Yes, I sent it to Terry.
I can get it out to us.
And I'll send you a couple of
Pretty quick,
those,
and I wasn't taking enough notes.
send you some of those vote websites as well, so you guys can take a look at that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I'll be in there.
Oh, is this
Yeah.
everything that's up there?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't look at that yet. All right. That's
Okay,
good.
next, consider approval of resolution 2026-13.
Unmute and then let them know you're there.
Servers Akron Road, 100th Street vacation.
Show up at a cast county.
Cass County. Folks that watch online.
Yeah,
Cass
this will
County
be
is
a
joining us.
Yeah.
joint meeting.
Yep, we'll have a meeting here with Cass County.
And I think I've talked to all of you, but this was brought up. We share a road, Cass County and Shelby County, and we brought up to vacate a portion of it. And Cass County's taken the lead more or less in this. So there's kind of a map of what's going on.
Well, gentlemen,
Here, now we can answer. Morning.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, okay, it's fine to see. Just coming off of that camera there. Oh,
there's no problem with the farmers if we vacate this or anything.
It's a section of road that hasn't, it's on paper, but it isn't utilized publicly.
Okay.
As you can see, a short section was vacated in 1959 and everything that goes back. Landowner owns everything in Cass County on the side that's left, plus this 40 at the end in Shelby County. And then there's just a singular landowner right here, so. It won't affect the traveled way to the public. This will be cut off right to the west of the acreage there.
Okay.
what happens if somebody wants to sell this off and there's no access to it? Like one of these sections in here.
At that point, then it's up to them to let an easement go through or something else. Because he would have, say they sell that, he would have to have an easement through what he owns back.
So this guy owns all of these.
Yes, those two, and the fellow that owns all of this owns this.
Okay. And this belongs to somebody down here.
This piece was vacated, actually this guy owns this also.
Okay.
Well, these two are the same top there, so there's a. We're examining maps right now just to make sure everyone understands exactly where
We're doing the same things.
So I'm assuming this is that part up north of the interstate, north of Marnie.
Yes. that's-
Yeah.
West.
On the county line at the Marnie Road, just, yeah, I drove the property, so I know what it looks like, so.
Where's the county line?
Right on
It
the,
seems like on the east side, the only thing we have to do is,
So they have
we're not closing the road up to that
Yeah, so
house,
it's-
right? Whereas all we're doing is closing the road from that top of that hill to the west, I think, so. But west of the acres.
Yeah, Mark,
Yeah,
we are not closing the 750 feet it takes to get from M56 west to her west property line. And that 750 feet will put us about 60 feet west of her west property line. So scouts still have access to use that road to get in their fields on the west side of her acreage.
okay. They have 240s, right?
Yeah, they've got 80.
That are adjacent to each other. They could also, I thought they could also get in from a farm lane off of the north-south road, but
I'm not sure about that with being in Shelby County, and I don't think they do, but they can get in on the east side of her acreage or the west side of her acreage.
okay. This map, maybe, but that part will still be open for access, this between this part we're talking about vacated. This part over here to the west has already been vacated. That's what it looked like to me. Yeah, and if we're all clear on that, if originally it was vacated to the creek. This has been vacated previously, so we're vacating from here to just west of that acreage. It's that strip there. Everybody's clear and understands, right? Yeah. Any questions here?
No questions here.
Any questions, Shelby?
No.
Nope, we're clear.
Okay. So, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2026-11. I'll second it. Okay, motion by O'Brien. Second. We need a roll call vote on this.
Richter,
Aye.
Iyer,
Aye.
O'Brien,
Aye.
Edgar,
Aye.
Green,
Aye. Resolution is adopted. Shelby County adopted.
All right, do we have a motion to adopt this resolution?
this would be our resolution 2026-13.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Bryce,
I'll second.
second by Mike. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris, you're still on.
All right. Thanks, Trent.
Okay, Chris Ferguson, secondary roads report.
Okay, thanks for working through that with us in Cass County. First thing I have 3 more right-of-way permits for Farmers Mutual Telephone. Again, fairly short stretches, does not affect any landowners. Everything goes to a residence or an operation. Have everything ready to go, so I would request approval for those.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mike.
I'll second.
Second by Bryce. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Okay, and then just a few quick updates. As of first of next week, we're hoping to start direct rock haul to the roads. We're going to try and do 35 miles again this year, more or less. This will include pulling the shoulders up and onto the roads. So sounds like the weather's supposed to be good, there should be some moisture in the road. Hopefully everything will pack out nice and
What part of the county is that?
it's scattered. This will be throughout. I don't know exactly where we're going to start. Atlantic has a very, very, very small pile of rock, which is inconsiderate, the most, or doesn't even really count right now. They will not crush until sometime in April, so we're going to go down and pull out a Crescent for this. You know, so if something changes, it just depends what our direction is. I think we'll start in the western part of the county, the way it looks, probably on Elmwood up towards 191. Either that or 1800th off of 191 headed west. So I just kind of ask that everybody work with us a little bit. I know it can be an interesting time, especially if it starts raining, and things will look worse before they get better. So we will babysit it as long as we need to, and we will have to probably recoat, touch up, etc., depending on the weather. So it's worked good in the past. It just gets the rock to the roads directly, and we can shape them a little bit at the same time. So, like I said, I think generally everybody's been happy. It's just, it's a process. So, try and get that going. Shouldn't have any problems. Along with that, both excavators should be going by the 1st of next week. Also, one is going into the far northeastern part of the county. The other will go into the northwestern part of the county. We're going to do some ditching and then just minor culvert repair. We're not going to tear anything up too bad. Who knows what the weather's going to do. We had 5 degrees in snow, and now we're going to have 85 in sun. So don't want to get in a position where things are tore up and the weather turns off. So like I said, just trying to do some minor things. If we have to shut down again, we'll be all right there. The bridge crew will be going back out to Woodland, back to the low water crossing project. The bridge and all the original structures tore out. They have done some dirt work, so everything's pretty well for the new structure to go back in, and where it's at, it'll take quite a lot of regrading and dirt work. So it's still going to be a process. It's like we've talked before, it's on level B dirt roads, so it stays wet. Hopefully everything, stays dry and gives us some time down there, and then we can move along and start on another project. So other than that, the right-of-way vacation was the big thing. So like I said, I appreciate you all doing that. I think that'll be a benefit for the county and for the landowners down there.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay, consider approval resolution 2026-14 memorandum on solar energy construction permits.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy St. Patrick's Day and happy corned beef and cabbage day to those of you that celebrate. Apparently that's a real official thing. So, Resolution 14 is a moratorium on solar energy construction permits. This would be the commercial scale solar, like the 100-acre solar fields or so on. We don't have anything in our ordinance currently on them one way or another. I know the state keeps talking about potential standards and so on. I don't know if anything will pass this year. And while it's not really been something I'm hearing much about in our side of the state, it is a big topic, and there is activity in the eastern part of the state now. So I think it's just a matter of time until something like that would come here. So what this would do is basically put a moratorium until July 1st of 27 to see what possibly shakes out of the State House, or the State House sort of put something into our ordinance here. So this would be something, I think we had last time around, this would be pushing it back, but it is something we did have on books. I mean, currently there is one moratorium on that.
Any discussion?
And the state is working on...
There's proposed legislation out there, but a bill doesn't necessarily become a law. Like last year we had 2,500 bills, and there were like 80 that passed, so.
And that's kind of why we're doing a moratorium, kind of waiting and see if they can...
Waiting and seeing. I mean, we could do something here, work on it. The problem is I don't know what it should look like. And there's not a lot of activity yet, so I guess I would recommend we wait and see if the state does something, or at some point get serious about updating our ordinance for it. But either way, we don't have anything now.
Look at other counties maybe in the next coming months and
Yeah,
see if we want to go down that path.
and for every county, there's probably 2 different variations of that too. So,
Thank you.
And I think this is a good idea, so.
So do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the moratorium for solar energy construction.
I'll second.
Motion by Mike, second by Bryce, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Same song, second verse.
same song, second verse. Resolution 15 would be the same thing on battery storage construction permits. That is something we have not had in place in Shelby County, and again, this will be for those commercial scale, where again, we're seeing development in eastern Iowa on these and around the country. So for particular areas that use a lot of renewable energy, such as solar and wind, those are things that, it's dark at night, so there's no solar, the wind might be down during the day with wind, or even just you've got peak capacity right now and you want to have something in reserve in case you need more. And so there's, around the country and in eastern Iowa, we're starting to see these major battery sites, which are there for power storage. And again, the concept is neat, but these can be large scale when it gets into like first responders and so on. If you're looking at like these lithium-ion batteries, which can't fight with water and so on, there's a lot of potential issues that would have to be worked out. And there's also typically some background noise, hum and things like that. So again, our ordinance is silent one way or another on them. I know it's being talked about at the State House, whether we'll see anything from them, but as it stands right now, our ordinance doesn't have anything and we wouldn't be able to get anything in place quickly. So I'm suggesting a moratorium on these until July 1st of 2027. I'm not aware of any projects being proposed in our area at this point.
Questions or comments? If not, do I have a motion to approve?
Make motion?
Motion by Bryce,
And I'll second this
second
one.
by Mike, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
All right, the third verse, Resolution 16. This would be new to Shelby County, and it's a moratorium on asset mining / data center permits. So Bitcoin is probably what you hear these things referred to, where they're doing Bitcoin mining. It's essentially a building or some shipping containers full of computers, doing a lot of processing and calculating and so on. The concept's very similar to your Googles and your Microsofts and Facebook / Meta's facilities, but we're seeing a lot of these smaller ones locating in the rural areas. We currently don't have anything in the ordinance regarding these type of facilities either. Our ordinance predates where things like these things were being conceived. We do currently have a small data center, it's technically an asset mining facility in the county. If you've ever been on the Corley Road east of Timber, right there on the corner, south of Lowell Anderson, if that means anything to you there, there's a Nishnah Valley substation, and then there's 2 shipping containers stacked too high. That is the center. They did go through the zoning process, got a conditional use permit, and the site's been there getting on towards 2 years, and they are yet to be compliant with the conditions of the permit. Now, I'm not saying that's an example of what can go wrong, but some of these sites are problematic in other parts of the county, and again, our ordinance doesn't have anything, so proposing a moratorium on those type of things until July 1st of 2027.
Questions or comments? None? Do I have a motion to approve?
We'll make that motion on this one.
Motion by Mike,
Second.
second by Bryce, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
So Tony, what's the process on the current one that's there that's not compliant? What can we do and what should we do?
Right now, we write it out because the developer and the operator are suing each other.
Okay.
So, right now, nothing.
Okay.
The major condition that was put in place, and the developer was there at the meeting and had it, was they were supposed to have the building by the end of the year. And it's still the shipping containers there.
Okay, next one's Resolution 2026-17.
Fourth verse, the song's coming to an end. This will be a moratorium on wind energy construction permits. This is something we've had online, and we're kind of renewing it again for your commercial scale wind turbines. And again, these are all commercial scales. If someone wants to run a server farm in their basement of their house, they can do it. Someone wants to put solar up on their building or have some panels in their yard at their house or their farm, no issue. We're just talking these commercial scale. And once again, with the wind, we don't have anything in the ordinance either way. The legislature keeps talking about possibly some standards, including setbacks and so on, which were significantly different than what our zoning commission several years ago were looking at when they were meeting. And this may be the year that something happens in the legislature, although we'll see, they have a couple other higher priorities. So, and again, I'm not familiar with any projects that are being proposed for Shelby County. I think there might be a couple leases out there for land, but no projects that I'm aware of that have been proposed, or no one's certainly approached me on it. And this would, again, put the moratorium out to July 1st of 2027.
Questions or comments? If not, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion?
Motion by Bryce.
Second.
Second by Mike. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
I think if the legislature doesn't do anything this year, I think maybe in coming, we should look at getting something in the books. So that we don't end up like we did with the pipeline and doing it in reaction to a project getting started and then you get sued because you didn't have something in place, and you don't want to go down that road again.
I don't disagree. We spent some time working on wind, the zoning commission really struggled with what they thought they should do.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of pushback in particularly southwest Iowa on the projects as well. So if or when we go down that road, I would not be surprised to see a lot of folks wanting to have participation and so on. And there are some counties south of us where people from the anti-wind side of the fence show up at every board of supervisor meeting just to make sure nothing's talked about and so on. They're that passionate about it.
Sure.
So I'm not saying that's not a reason to do it, but when we do it, we need to, just be ready to
Plan
work
for
with
it.
plan for it, work with a lot of folks on a lot of different opinions.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Tony?
That's a turn. Okay, consider approval of resolution 2026-18, eliminate CO2 pipeline liaison position.
You can address that.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, this is a resolution that was adopted January 21st of 2025 to assist the board with issues surrounding the proposed CO2 pipeline in Shelby County, and whereas this position is no longer necessary or feasible, now therefore be it resolved by the Shelby County Board of Supervisors that the position of CO2 pipeline liaison is hereby eliminated effective April 1st, 2026. Resolution 2025-9 is then repealed in its entirety. And we're at a point where the judicial review and the legislature and all the parties involved, we're kind of just on hold, waiting for their decisions before we put anything in our ordinances or not put anything in our ordinances. So Steve's done a wonderful job advocating for property owners and the county over the last 4 years. 5 years, seems like 8 years, right? So thank him for his service in those regards, and I think we're at a place where it's kind of wait and see what happens now. So I do appreciate your efforts, and
Do you have any comments,
it's time to
Steve?
close that, yeah.
I just want to say Steve has not only led Shelby County, but he's led the state.
Yep.
And he's done an awesome job, so. He's got a lot of pit bull in that heart, so.
Well,
we
thank
appreciate
you.
it.
I just appreciate your support during the whole thing, on the board and off the board, and I support this decision. A lot of it because of what the Supreme Court denied us moving forward, looking at our case. I wish I could have did more, but with that said, I will continue, so the property owners of this county and around the state know I'm going to continue to work on that. I'm not going to let it all go down the tubes. I just want to remind the board that you still have the judicial review in place. You are part of a 9-member coalition of counties that are a part of that team, so you should have somebody, I know Mike's was involved with it yesterday, but should have somebody involved that stays on top of that as you move forward, because that's going to pick up some steam here after the session ends, I'm gonna say, and then to the end of the year, there's gonna be a lot of decisions our utility board is going to have to make. And you're gonna want, and the attorneys are legal counsel for the coalitions, want input from the 9-member board. Okay?
Yeah, we still do have Tim Whipple and Allers and Cooney representing the county
Right.
in that battle, so
Right. And if any way I can help you in the future, just let me know.
thank you, Steve.
Thanks,
Yep.
Steve.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you, guys.
All right, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by
Second.
Mike, second by Bryce, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Consider approval of amended MMC agreement.
Is Kenny still out there?
Kenny's.
Kenny.
Good. Item 13, the amended Virtue
Okay.
agreement.
Yeah, so the agreement that was signed with Merchant last year, we had some discussion with the hospital to reevaluate it, to help with our future capital planning and acquisition needs over the next kind of 3 years, and what we're seeing to get the equipment replaced that we're kind of inherited, we'll call it. So they're willing to increase their funding 50%. Nothing else changed in the agreement, so we just have to approve it and then sign it, and we'll take it to Kyle, the new CEO, and have him sign it and officialize it, so. Any questions on it?
I know there was quite a bit of dialogue between you and Kyle, so I appreciate your efforts and Kyle's willingness to look at it again, and the Virtue board, I don't know if it went through them or not, but.
Yeah, I think they did too, so he brought it to them, but yeah, we appreciate their commitment to helping us try to get over our 3-year hump and help with our capital acquisition plans to continue to provide the service we are, so. Yeah.
We're still learning as we go, right?
We are, we're definitely learning. We're learning a lot of things and trying to be financially responsible and sustainable, but also negotiate on a different level too, so.
Okay, if anything further, we'll take the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Bryce,
Second?
second by Mike, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thanks, Kenny. Okay. Consider approval of federal employer identification number, FEIN for EMS and EMA.
So one of the things we kind of ran into on an issue is that because we're using the county's tax ID number, Alex and I are kind of competing for different grants, or we have to be selected each year on who can apply for one. So I know I can do a UEI with SAM.gov for some FEMA and federal grants on our own. The independent tax ID through the IRS, we can apply for, but I might get denied since we don't have independent authority since we're county department, but Alex should be able to get his own through them since he has a board that he kind of answers to. So we just need approval to basically pursue an independent EIN for them, for EMA, and then also for me to do a SAM.gov UEI number, so we can try to both apply for the same grants but not fight each other for them and help get some free money to help support our systems.
Questions or comments?
Sounds like a good idea.
You have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mike,
Second?
second by Bryce, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, department head reports for EMA coordinator. Alex?
You don't have anything to report?
Nothing too exciting
Okay.
to talk about.
Okay.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning again.
Morning.
So, I had asked Aaron to put me on the agenda today. We've talked about it before, but back in 2001, the county did a uniform fire billing ordinance, basically setting the rates for what we can charge for different pieces of equipment for fire departments. Because it was kind of all over the board before. That hasn't been updated in about 25 years, so the rates have stayed the same.
In the ordinance, it says that the Emergency Services Association may change rates as they see fit, or periodically, I think is what it says. But we had a meeting a couple months ago with the ESA, and they agreed to amend the rates. And instead of doing a dollar figure, just say that we were gonna follow the FEMA scheduled equipment rate, because every year FEMA does a study and associates a cost with different pieces of equipment. That way we can just leave it in the ordinance and not have to change it, because the FEMA rates change every year. So I think Taryn and I had some discussion on whether we had to do a hearing on the ordinance to update it. We do?
Yeah.
Okay. So more of an informational thing now. We'll get on the next agenda to get that change made. But ESA did vote to do that, so.
Okay.
Can we set a public hearing date today, or do we need to wait till next meeting to do that?
Next meeting.
Okay.
So that's all I have.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Supervisors Committee
Oh,
reports.
Charlie, do you mind if I add some reports?
Jump right in here.
Thank you, sir. I did not talk to Taryn about being on the agenda, but, you know, it's important.
I don't know.
So just a couple brief perspectives from the two hats I wear. One is zoning. In response to the Supreme Court's ruling on the hazardous pipeline ordinance, part of our ordinance, the Zoning Commission will be meeting early April to begin the process of pulling that back out, as well as having a public hearing. I believe it's on Tuesday the 7th or something like that. But we do need to go through the same process to remove the pipeline part of the ordinance, Section 8, just as we put it in there. So they'll meet, they'll get public input if there's any, and then they'll make a recommendation to you, and you folks choose to do what you feel is right. Wouldn't anticipate a whole lot of input because there's nothing we can do, but we still want to make sure we go through the process there. So that's from a zoning perspective. From the assessor's hat, which is my regular job, we'll be sending out assessment notices here on or by April 1st. This is a non-revaluation year, so we're not changing values across the board or anything this year. If it were, I would be looking at residential as a median needing to change by 5 or 6% up again. So for last year, the typical median sales to assessment was around 5.7% higher than our current higher assessments, as they've been run up every 2 years. And that doesn't mean it's universal. I mean, there's some areas that it maybe doesn't need to go up, it could go down, and other places maybe up, but that's what the numbers tell us for last year. Next year, this time, we'll be getting ready to send out assessment notice based on what actually sells in this calendar year, so that's what will matter there. That said, we did get a new aerial flight for spring of 2025, and one of the cool things about the folks that we contract with, Eagle View Pictometry, is they can take one aerial flight and then run a computer algorithm against the current flight, and it can tell us changes. You know, maybe something was built that wasn't there, or maybe something was removed, and so it calls attention to us, and we can take a closer look at it and decide if there's something that we didn't know about that needs to be updated for the data. And there's a lot of things, there's a lot of $500 barns that are gone this year that were there 3 years ago. So we'll be sending out probably 500 assessment notices, and it might be as simple as your assessment went down $450 because, you know, we moved a 1940s barn that was hauling in. But, you know, we did find some things that have some value and so on as well. But the only assessment notices being mailed out this year are for changes we're aware of to the property, be it something that was added or something went down, whatever.
Or down and replaced.
Yeah, down or replaced. I mean, you might have come ahead, even though you took down something old, but you built something that had more value in it, so. That's all I had.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Mike?
Running along today, so I'll keep it brief. Had several meetings this last couple of weeks. The Shelby County Emergency Preparedness and Planning Coalition met, and for those who don't know, that is the hospital, EMA, EMS, Sheriff, Public Health, Environmental Health, and the Harlan Fire Department, and the school all get together once a month and meet, talk about being prepared for emergencies. A couple of things came out of that, but I don't need to go into that. I attended an ISAC legislative update on March 6th. VA funding, zoning changes out in the county, energy siting, property tax were all discussed. Nothing decided for sure on those. ISAC Spring Conference, March 11th, 12th, and 13th, was at that. A lengthy discussion on AI and how the county can use that and how the county should not use that. So it can do some great things, but it can also get people in trouble. Talks about government efficiencies, and that's kind of an oxymoron sometimes, but I had a session on that. Had a legislative update again with some of those same things, talked about Medicaid, property tax, natural resources, 911 funds, etc. Down the line, back to blue, they're starting to look at some maybe revisions to that law to help counties deal with the budgets that came along with that legislation. And then yesterday there was a Zoom meeting for CO2 Pipeline Coalition Group again. Talked about next steps on that and what we can expect. So, had a couple busy weeks, and that's an overview.
Bryce?
All right. Had a couple meetings, Conservation Board. Of course, they're working on ash trees that are dying over the winter here, trying to get caught up on those. Had a meeting with the Landfill Commission, and we decided to up the tonnage $5 from $60 to $65. So look for that in July. Went to ISAC for half a day and got a fever and went home. But, and tomorrow I have Southwest Iowa Juvenile Detention. So.
Well, I have a meeting in West Central tonight, MAPA meeting in Omaha tomorrow, SWIPCA meeting next week, and that's about it for me. Next on the agenda, consider approval of Shelby County Golf Course liquor license. Comments or questions?
This is just their yearly liquor license for the clubhouse at the golf course.
Without that, there'd be no golf.
Yeah.
Well, I golf anyway.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Bryce,
Second.
second by Mike. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Any comments from anybody out there? If not, meeting adjourned.